If you need to build a query that is a bit more complex than the query builder allows for by default, you can use the Snippets tool for a little bit more flexibility. You'll find the Snippets tool at the bottom of the data point list, at the bottom on the left side here. Now you'll see when I click on that, the Query Snippets panel doesn't have any options selected by default. And so in order to add some options to this panel, I'll have to go through the other data point categories here. And so for this demonstration, I'll go ahead and use the vote history options. Now let's say by default, I want to see how the system works without using the Snippets tool. I'll go ahead and select the options that I'm interested in. Let's say I want the general 2017 election as well as the presidential 2016 options. And then I'll go ahead and click the Update Query button. And you'll see by default, when I don't use the Snippets tool, the system will target any voters that voted in both elections that I specified. Now let's say instead I wanted to target voters who voted in one or the other. That's where the Snippets tool will come into play. And so I'll go ahead and delete that clause. And then I'll go back into the vote history options. Now this time, instead of selecting both at the same time, what I'll do is I'll select one at a time and then click the Snippet button. And you'll see that when I do that, the first option that I had selected will appear in this panel. And in order to have these buttons at the bottom available for use, I'll have to have at least 2 or more options selected. And so let's go ahead and close that window out. And this time I'll select the second option that I wanted, which is the 2016 primary. I'll select voted and then click the Snippet button. And now you'll see both options appear in the Query Snippets panel. And so in order to kind of manipulate the way that the system will add them to the query, I'll go ahead and check off both options. And rather than using the intersect and connector, which is the default connector that we went over earlier, this time I'll click the union or button. And you'll see that a third option will appear on this window, and I'll go ahead and check the box next to that and append that one to my query. And you'll see that once that clause is added to my query here, my query is specifying that I'm now looking for voters who voted in one or the other rather than voted in both.